Hey everyone, this is Tamara and welcome to Book Chat Live. Thanks for watching. Today I am chatting with Suzanne M. Sabol, the author of paranormal series Blushing Death. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because every Sunday through the end of July, I will be right here interviewing authors that are going to be at Rust City Book Con. If you don't know what Rust City is, be sure to click the link below or you can go to rustcitybookcon.com. So, without further ado, hey Suzanne, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's kind of hot here today. How's the weather where you are?
It's actually not that bad. It's only around 82 or something like that, and not too humid, which in the middle of July is actually a godsend.
Yeah,
Because
it is.
Ohio can be.
It was kind of humid here yesterday. I was dying.
I try not to go outside too much, honestly. I'm like transparent, so the sun and I are not friends.
Aw. Well, I just don't like to go outside because I don't like to sweat. I have to save my hair. It's a little vain, but it's the truth.
I understand completely.
So, okay, I guess we can get started. If you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm all go.
All right. So, I always love to ask what you're reading right now. I know you writers read as much as us readers do. So go ahead and share with us what you're reading.
I started not too long ago Sherilyn Kenyon's Dark Hunter series. Um, and I'm up to Acheron right now, which is the one I've really been waiting for before I take a break because I've read all 15 or 16 of those within a month and a half.
Wow.
So, I was like, I gotta get to Acheron and then I can take a break.
So why did you pick that one as the break?
Listen, much like Laurel K. Hamilton, Jean-Claude, all through the books, I was like, listen, I gotta get to this one. Like, I need a little bit of this, and then I can go to something else and come back.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes that doesn't always happen because there's always a little tidbit where you're like, oh, well, maybe I do need to see what happens after that.
Of course you do. I mean, seriously, I am like a series lover. So I have been
Yes.
on series binges before, and it's just I can't read anything else until there's nothing left.
I don't think I read individual books anymore. I
I
don't, anything that comes in like a series or like a package or something, I cannot put them down.
Yeah, I totally relate. I really do. I think almost everything that I choose to read on my own is either a series, in some way, shape, or form, a trilogy or something. But I
Mhm.
read, the other stuff for book club, but it's not my choice.
Which makes it so much harder to get
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, actually, I have book club tonight, but let's not. I just finished the book for that this morning, so I was late on that one. Awesome. So, would you say that there are any books or authors that may have influenced your writing style?
I think honestly, when I was younger, I read a lot of like 40s and 50s noir. Like I read a lot of Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler, um, and a lot of my now I do read fantasy clearly because I write about horror, but like a lot of my style is that very kind of fast paced, a lot of action. Um, Boom, boom, boom type of fast dialogue like they wrote in the 40s and 50s because I kind of just love it a lot. Um, but when we're talking about the kind of genre fiction, like I started on Laurel K. Hamilton,
Hmm.
but I love Ilona Andrews and I love her world building and Janine Frost and those like really developed authors who can just pull an incredible world out of their butt and you're like, where did you even come up with this?
Yeah, I know. I totally understand because Janine Frost is one of my favorites, along with Patricia Briggs. I mean, they just keep
Yeah.
coming with those stories. It's like, wow.
And Patricia Briggs in particular, her books are very succinct. Like
Hmm.
she gets a lot of impact for what she's actually putting on the page. Because when you look at her books in comparison to others, they're not very long.
No, and it's a skill. Not a lot of people can pack that much plot into a short
Yeah,
story, but she trims her stories down so it's bam, 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 and
yeah,
you're through it.
absolutely.
That's awesome. So if that's any kind of indication of what we're in for with your books, yes, I'm right there. I'm there for it. So, I mean, I guess are those also some of your favorite authors as well? They kind of just roll up into,
Yeah,
one.
and honestly, I like those that they are more graphic, but I also really like Juliette Marillier and her fantasy work. She builds a world, and it's not, I mean, it is complicated, but the magic isn't, right? It's all based on folklore. So her stuff is very intricate, but you believe it. Like there's no kind of aspect of, oh, well, this is too far-fetched, right? Because it's all based on folklore and what people actually believed at the time.
Okay.
So it's really actually very well done. And her language and prose is so, it's just pretty. Like it's actually just pretty to read.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna have to check her out. I don't think I've read anything by her.
She has a lot. She started with the Seven Waters trilogy, and it's kind of expanded out. But she has a couple of series, and it's just like if you like Celtic kind of folklore fantasy, that's what you want to read.
Well, I do like Outlander, so is that the same kind of?
I sat and watched that thing last night and just bawled my eyes out.
Oh no!
I knew it was happening too. It's like, just don't even come in here. I'm just not okay.
Oh, see, I'm an episode behind, so I didn't see last night's episode.
You know what's coming though, so.
Oh no! Don't tell me. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your series, Blushing Death.
Okay.
So your 6th book is out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the series overall.
It's centered on Dahlia, who, and the first half of the series is very much about her development, about her coming to grips with who and what she is. And the second half, as we're rolling it out, is more about how you deal with when you've accepted who you are. Like what life looks like when you are okay with what the world perceives you as. And really how relationships change when that happens. Because in the first half, there was a lot of kind of strife among the characters because she didn't accept who she was and they needed her to be something else. And until she could grapple with that and kind of learn and accept, then there was a lot of conflict and a lot of kind of strain between the characters. But now that she's accepted it, it's kind of just learning how to get along and how to live in a world where everyone knows who and what you are.
Okay, so
including yourself.
So essentially, she is a demon.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
She's something. What is she? Is she a succubus?
No, she is actually the world building is part of. She is an ancient kind of magic where she is the carrier of a power between life and death. But she is way too easy with the killing, right? And she has to come to grips with the fact that she is in fact a killer, and that's okay in the world in which she's living. Like if if she's living in a librarian down the street, that's not okay, right? But if you're living in a world where violence is part of what defines you, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And coming and learning to deal with that and becoming more than human and gaining powers and living with yourself afterwards. That's a big part of it.
Okay. Well, okay, let's get a little bit into the brass, the bear. Let's get to the root of it all.
Yes.
So, all right, obviously this is paranormal, and obviously there's some sex in here.
Yes.
So what do you think the heat level is of this series?
There's a high heat level. Yeah.
1 to 10.
I don't close the doors on you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, if we've been reading any of the authors we've talked about, we kind of know what we're in store for.
Yeah, I mean, yes, probably a little more, honestly.
Oh, okay. All right. So you guys, it's adult only. Children need to get to gone because honestly,
it is not only the sex, but the violence is fairly graphic. So yeah, I would not recommend the children read it. In fact, I have had some children come up to me at tables and with their parents, and I'm like, I think you should read this first before you say they're okay to read it.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I don't mind violence because, J.R. Ward does a lot of violence.
I've never actually read her.
No, I
No.
think you'd like her. If you read the others that, that we've talked about, I think you would like her as well.
I might have to read that next.
Well, she's another one. You'll be reading for 13 books until,
Okay, good.
Yeah, definitely. So how are your stories told? Are they first person, third person?
Mine are all first person.
Okay.
Somewhere towards the middle, I started adding the villain's perspective, which has actually been a very kind of neat twist every once in a while. Because I love a good villain. I just do.
Me too. It really kicks the story up a notch,
Yeah, it really does. It really does. But they are all told from first person.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, I do like
persons.
No. Well, I do like that when you start incorporating, 2 points of view, especially the villain, because I mean, there's nothing worse than having, to me, you're reading about this heroine and she's trying to save the day and the villain is like lukewarm. It's like he's not even that scary,
Right. Yeah, I think in my fourth one, my villain is a redheaded vampire who parades around in a pink ball gown, which kind of freaks me out a little bit. That was just sinister to me.
I can see how that would freak anyone out, seeing someone like, okay, yeah, no.
I don't like pink anyway, but.
So in your books, are like vampires and demons and werewolves like a normal thing? Is it the world knows about it, or is it hidden?
They do not.
Okay.
They do not, which, makes kind of the idea of coming to grips with everything, because you can't tell the world who you are, right? I mean, there was a lot of kind of animosity with the fact of Dahlia losing her humanity, where just it wasn't lost, just transformed into something else. So that, I mean, because the world doesn't know, puts a lot more pressure on them to keep it quiet.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Because it's usually one or the other, right? Like you either have a hidden world or it's kind of like realism and everyone knows about it and they just have to run and hide from it, I guess.
I mean, and when you think about it, in the day and age that we live in, you almost kind of have to bring it out. Like, it's harder not to. Like, then you have to explain away all the cell phones and like all the pictures and the satellites, and like there's too much technology, and it does. It gets harder and harder to keep it under wraps.
Wow. Well, that sounds intriguing. So let's talk about, okay, before we continue on with like the plot and the characters, I do want to take a break and look at your cover art because I was looking on Goodreads and all 6 of your covers are like stellar. I would love to see those in person.
Good. This is Pool of Crimson, the first one. This is the first cover of Midnight Ash. It has a new cover, and the print books will be in the next print run with the new cover, which I think it's better. I like the new cover with the sword and everything. Sliver of Silver, this is the old cover. It has a new cover with the new print run. Golden and a Day, which this is kind of my favorite, honestly. I love that.
I like it, yeah.
Plus Vegas. This is Black Dalliances. And then the newest one is Emerald Fire.
Oh, goodness, that cover, I tell you. I'm like, what's going on with those 3?
What's going on?
It looks like a whole lot of something. I'm just saying.
There's a little bit of something.
So did you have any say in the design of the cover art, or?
They sent me a proof and kind of asked me to okay it. I really haven't had any problems with any of them to the point where I was like, no, that's horrible, send that back. But yeah, I mean, I have to okay it, and then the editor has to okay it too. So
okay. Well, I like them, especially the reprints, because I think the reprint ones are what's on Goodreads, and those are really cute.
they're really good.
Yeah, they are. Awesome. So let's get back to Dahlia a little bit. So obviously she's a character that has a lot of growth. You know, she
Mhm.
starts one way, and obviously as she starts to come into her own, she grows into something else. So, you know, as you could tell probably from the type of authors I said I love a strong heroine. I love want someone that could come in and, you know, kick butt and take names and just sort it all out later kind of thing.
Yeah. No, my husband likes to call Dahlia the John McClane of the paranormal world, because like she takes a beating and just keeps coming at you. Like, when he first started reading, he was like, "You've created Die Hard with vampires," and I was like, "That's what I was going for. Thanks."
Yeah, that's awesome. So how about her love interest? In the first book, does she have a love interest?
In the first book, it is Patrick the vampire,
Okay.
and she actually has a second one in a werewolf, but that doesn't last. So it ends up being into the fourth and fifth book where we pick up a trio. So it takes a little bit of time.
Okay. Well, you know, I hate to say it, but it seems like the vampires always win. When it comes down to choosing a werewolf or a vampire, the vampires always win.
Well, I mean, there's something about double penetration, really, that kind of does it. I don't know what that is, but
But you know, it's funny. All of these books, I tend to like sway toward the vampire side too. It's true. Unless they look like a girl, I don't like guys with long hair. Does Patrick have long hair?
no, who likes that? I don't
Oh,
even understand. No.
oh, thank you, Lord. Oh,
One of them is like shaved bald by choice. So like get rid of all of it.
all right, fabulous. Because I cannot take the vampires that are centuries old with the long hair. It's so gross.
Think that after being centuries old, you'd want to get rid of it because it would be such a hindrance. Like,
Yeah.
you think just cut it off.
Yes. Okay. So that makes me happy. I feel happy about knowing that. So, what made you decide to like go that type of relationship route with Dahlia and Patrick, and who is the werewolf?
Dean.
Dean.
Yeah. Well, the way I set up her magic kind of required both. Like the magic is not complete without life and death. So like you can't have one without the other. A lot of it is actually based in ancient Egyptian kind of religions. So there's a lot of Anubis and Horus and kind of Isis and pulling it all into the Book of Life and the Book of Death and all of the things that go with it. So having something that's dead but alive, and then having something that is life but primal, is kind of how you pull it all together. So she kind of actually needs both to be more powerful.
Wow. Okay. So tell me a little bit about Patrick and Dean. So
Okay.
obviously they're both alphas, but I suspect they have very different personalities.
Yes, Patrick is very kind of elaborate and deliberate. Like his language is very flowery. He's very educated. He is very, I don't want to say manipulative, because he's not manipulative. He is Machiavellian, right? He is very kind of a strategist. Sorry. But Dean is very blunt and to the point. Like if one word will answer the question, that's what you're getting. He's not gonna talk for eons to get his point across, if at all. But he is very decisive, and he doesn't hinder on any decisions that he makes. He is in charge, and that is who he is. So they are very different personalities, where Dahlia is very kind of blunt. She's a smartass. Like she just kind of is out there in your face all the time, and these guys aren't.
All right. So is there like an instant power struggle between the two of those guys as far as Dahlia is concerned, or?
Well, we get into a little bit of like I don't want to say pissing match because it's not necessarily a pissing match, but it's kind of a jealousy now because they were friends before she came along.
Okay.
So like alphas in their own right in the same city working together, but now they have something that is kind of dividing them a little bit. So having a prior relationship, and some of the short stories that are on my website kind of give a little preview as to what they were like before. So, and some of the stuff on my website has scenes from the book from Patrick's perspective or from Dean's perspective. So you can see the same scenes just from their point of view. But part of the conflict in the later two books is dealing with having separate lives but trying to bring them together because they're all working for the same thing.
Well, I think that's an interesting twist on things, the fact that they knew each other before and they worked together before. So I guess that's kind of cool, actually.
It's almost like your friends betraying you, but you know, not really. Like no one can help it if it's part of the magic. Like if the magic is drawing you in, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh goodness. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, you kind of have to. You have to.
Right.
Or the world will end. So
or, you know, people die.
Yeah, so you have no choice. I mean, I'm sure it's not that bad for Dahlia. I mean, how bad can it be for her? I'm sure she's having a great time with the magic.
Right.
So what do you like most about the characters you've developed for this series?
I like them as characters. Like I like them. I like going in and formatting conversations that they're having and kind of slipping the little kind of smart ass comments or jokes that are private, but not really because we're all reading them, right? Like, and when Dahlia says to Patrick something about, oh, you made a joke, that was actually funny. You know, it's stuff like that where like they're learning each other in a new way that having those kinds of dialogue it's fun for me. I like to do that because some of the things that my husband and I say to each other just totally make it in those books because only real people have those conversations and you're like, who would believe this? No one.
Okay, so which one is your husband?
Okay. That would be Patrick.
Okay, all right. Well, that's funny.
Dean is no one. Dean was like, I can't take you anymore. I kind of need a break. So.
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, that's so funny. Love it. So let's see, what else? Oh, research. So obviously this is a lot of paranormal magic and things going on in world building. So did you just kind of make everything up or did you pull like research down from different places to kind of create this whole situation?
Both, honestly. I did research. I did pull out some of the religious aspects from paganism and things like that. But there were also moments where I was like, oh, I need this to go a certain way, so I'm just kind of going to tweak it here. And honestly, I was working on the next one a couple of weekends ago in the mountains with my friends. And I was sitting there on the deck. I'm not an outdoorsy girl. And I was like, oh my God, I had an Alona Andrews moment. I just pulled this all together. I was like, I'm done. I'm done for like an hour. This is genius, and I can't even imagine. Now, it's probably crap, but in the moment, it felt really good. So.
Oh, that's hilarious. So do you like kind of just wing it when you're writing this series, or do you have like a map and you know where you want to go?
I have a map per book and kind of an overall, like I know where I need to end in the last one. But for me, half of the fun is not knowing exactly. When I plot out too much, I lose interest because I know what's going to happen. So it takes me way longer to actually get through it than if I was kind of ad-libbing as I go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. So where is most of the series take place? What state or town or?
Most of them take place in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
Golden Anna Day takes place in Vegas. And the one that I'm writing now takes place in New Orleans.
Awesome. I like New Orleans. It's a lot of magic there, right?
Oh my God, it was so hot though. So hot. And humid. No.
Bad combination, hot and humid.
It was like April, so no.
Well, let's see. Well, obviously, since you've done some plotting as far as what is in store for this series, how many books are planned for this series?
I'm thinking 10.
Okay.
So there's only a couple left.
Well, so you're making strides toward the finish line.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So what are you working on now then? Are you just working on book 7 or are you doing some other things as well?
I'm working on book 7 right now. I'm also working on 2 separate projects in addition to that. One is a demon world with an assassin as the main character. And the other one is kind of like a post-apocalyptic type of thing. We'll see how either one of those goes.
Well, that's cool. So, all right. So when is book 7 going to be out?
I would assume next summer, honestly. My goal, and I've been saying that because I have a 15-month-old and that has pretty much slowed everything down. But my goal is to have it done, the first draft, by the end of this month, which is an admirable goal. And then hopefully have the first copy to my editor by the end of August.
Okay. Well, good luck. You're going to need it with the baby.
I've been working on it for a really long time.
Oh, so that means it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yes, that's exactly what that means. So before we shift gears here and move on to another topic, do you think there's anything else you'd like to share with the audience about this series specifically?
I think that it is just it's a fast-paced, fun read. And if you like urban fantasy, that's for you.
All right. Yes, it's on my TBR list right now. It's on there. It made it on there. You know, I'm kind of like, my list is so long. I've recently become very picky with what I add to it because, you know, it's like I only want stuff I'm really gonna read. So
yeah, I have a box of books that I got at a convention that 3 years ago that I haven't gotten to yet. And they I have a lot of books that I haven't read sitting in my house.
Me too. That's why I'm trying to get rid of some of them. I'm trying to give them away. I'm like, I feel bad. I'm like, they're just sitting there, you know?
I can't. I have a sickness. I can't do it. I can't.
Oh.
If I haven't read it, I have to read it first, and I have a sickness. It's a problem.
Oh, well, yeah, I relate. I think the one thing that's kind of keeping me tethered is my husband saying, we don't have any more space for those books. What are you going to do with those books? You're not going to do anything with those books. I'm like,
we bought a bigger house.
I know. I think that's a good idea. Actually, I'm already on team floor to ceiling shelves.
Nice.
I've outgrown my shelves go up about halfway up the wall now, the whole wall, but I've outgrown it. So it's time to grow.
Yes. Bigger house.
Yes, I agree with that. I'll tell him you said so. Back me up.
Absolutely.
All right. So, you know, there's always writers in the audience, you know, those that want to be published. Do you have any sage advice for the aspiring writers?
I would say get a critique group. And it doesn't even have to be a group. It could be a friend or something like that. I rewrote Pool of Crimson, I think 3 times because it was horrible. And honestly, the person who read my books was my husband. And everybody keeps saying, oh, you know, he'll just tell you what you want. No, no, my husband is harsh. Like, he's like, no, this is crap. What are you doing? Or he'll just like write things on the pages like, this is a little too murder she wrote or something like that. And like, he's actually really hard on me. But without someone else's feedback, without that kind of unbiased feedback, you're never going to be able to see your writing clearly. I would also suggest don't give up. Like, it may be crap now, but the third inclination may not be. And also, the rejection letters that you get from publishers, they're harsh. They are. Some of them they don't even read. They just kind of give you the standard. But if you keep in there, someone will like it. Someone will pick it up eventually. And quite frankly, having a thick skin helps a lot.
I can
When
imagine.
someone is criticizing your work, like, you can take those comments and say, okay, I see where they're coming from. But if everything is your firstborn child, you're never going to grow as a writer.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I know that most people, me personally, I feel like a way about my work. I'm kind of a perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
or I think, that everyone will like something, and when they don't, it kind of hurts your feelings a little bit.
Yeah.
But you got to roll with the punches. Everything isn't for everyone. So
writing is very subjective. It is very kind of personal choice driven, and not everyone is going to like what you have. It's just not, it's not feasible.
Yeah. And, it also kind of goes with that saying, what is it? Like, no two persons read the same book. So, yeah. So it's all
some things I see on Facebook, I was like, I didn't read it that way at all. What are you talking about? So, I mean, someone is going to read my work entirely different than someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That's great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure they appreciate that, because that was some very sage advice. So let's talk a little bit about Rust City. That is right around the corner, less than a month away. So Are you ready for that event?
I think so.
You think so? Okay, well, that's better than outright no.
Right. I mean, there is some conversation going on about the meet and greet and what we're going to be doing, so I don't really know what's happening with that. But other than that, yeah, I think so.
Okay, so let's talk about the panels. Which ones did you sign up for?
I signed up for quite a few, actually. Because I wasn't sure what, I was kind of just throwing things at the wall to see what stuck at that point. There was a world building that I signed up for. There was a villains panel that I signed up for. There were a couple of craft kind of like how to edit or things like that I signed up for. There was about 7.
Okay. Well, I do like the villains one. Hopefully, I wonder if it's about like talking about villains or how to make a good villain. I wonder what way that is going to be.
I don't know yet. When they tell us what panels we're going to be on, I'll have a better idea.
Yeah, you know what? As soon as you know, maybe I'll know a little bit after that. So let's find. I really hope
you're moderating.
Exactly. I really hope I get some good ones that I'm really into, like, fantasy or urban fantasy, or, villains or series and things like that.
Which ones you wanted to moderate?
Not yet. I did ask, so I guess we'll find. I guess just playing it by ear. Just playing it by ear, I guess.
All right.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll get to at least pick 1 or 2. That would be my hope. So what books are you going to have for the signing?
For the actual signing, I'm going to have Pool of Crimson, Midnight Ash, and then The Last Emerald Fire. But I believe I'll probably take at least a couple copies of each one to give away at some point. And usually it's just random people, just like, here, have a copy.
Are you going to have the reprints for the 2nd and 3rd book?
No, that hasn't come out yet.
Oh, that's so sad. Come on, us book nerds, we have to have series that look alike. So you can't have one and then 2 that look different and then the others. We have to have them all. Well, okay. Well, I guess if we have to wait.
I promise.
Okay. So are you familiar with the area at all? Troy, Michigan?
No.
No?
I've actually only been to Detroit once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a lot of fun stuff to do, and it's a really great area. So, are you staying at the hotel there, or are you staying somewhere else? Okay,
I,
well, there's tons to do right in that area. You don't even have to worry about trying to get lost anywhere. So, it's kind of
what
cool.
is to do? I like my husband's thinking about coming with me, but
Hmm.
he was afraid that he wouldn't have anything to do
Well,
while
what
there.
does he like to do? Does he like to golf and stuff?
No,
No?
he's not athletically inclined.
Okay, well, let's see. There's the DIA, not even 20 minutes away. So, if he likes art,
Okay.
if he likes shopping, there's this huge shopping mall literally 2 minutes down the street, and it's like a high end one. It's
Oh,
Somerset Collection. And it's kind of cool because they have like this breezeway that goes over the main road there, which is Big Beaver. And it's like you're walking across the road in the air. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And I mean, there's tons of restaurants, bars, things like that. So there's lots of cool little places to eat and like some downtown areas, Royal Oak, Birmingham. If you want, when I see you, I could give you a laundry list.
okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, my book club is always going out to eat, so we've been to all kind of restaurants. It's crazy.
So you'll know which ones are good.
Yes, indeed, and I will tell you which ones to stay away from.
That's
So,
important.
yes, equally as important.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's it about, I guess, Rest City. Unless you have something else to add on that topic.
I don't think so.
All righty, so let's jump into the lightning round. I love this. It's so fun.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me give you quick instructions. So it is 60 seconds, 60 questions. Some are book related, some are not. There are A or B questions where you have to answer one or the other. You can't say both, you can't say neither. And then there are open ended questions.
Okay.
So it's all good fun. So just answer as many as you can in the 60 seconds. And I
Okay.
have my little timer here so I don't go over.
You've given me
Because
a challenge.
huh?
You've given me a challenge.
Yeah, because I always like to ask these questions. So if I don't time myself, I'll just be like, "Oh, let me ask 5 more." So,
Okay, so what's the highest number of questions that has been answered in that 60 seconds?
you know what? I have yet to actually count, but I should because I jump all over the list. But I feel like the most that have ever been answered is about 18 to 20 if I had to take a good guess.
Okay.
Okay. So, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Physical books or ebooks?
Physical books.
Hero or villain?
Villain.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Name a book that you've read in one sitting.
Um The Last Mona Andrews, Kate Daniels book.
Okay. Vampires or werewolves?
Oh, vampires.
Where's your favorite place to read?
In bed.
Cake, cake or pie?
Cake.
Dog or cats?
Cats.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Yes! Series or standalone?
Series.
Audiobook or bookish podcast?
Audiobook.
Vodka or rum?
Vodka.
Outlander or Game of Thrones?
Oh, that's wrong. Oh.
Time's up. Game of Thrones. Yes. You know what? If I had to pick between the two, I would pick Game of Thrones too. I mean, Outlander is good, but Game of Thrones,
Tyrion is awesome.
he is. Did you watch the season finale?
I did.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy good, wasn't it?
Did you happen to see the Leslie Jones and Seth Meyers kind of watching the final episode or the Bastards episode together?
No.
Oh my God. Google that. It is hysterical. It is 8 minutes of your life that you will love forever.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. I've got to see it now. Yeah, those last 2 episodes of this season were just stellar. They were amazing.
They were stupid good.
Yeah, they were. Well, I have tons of predictions, but we'll save that for another conversation. So thanks for doing this today. Thank you for, participating. It's been really fun talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you have anything else you'd like to share before we sign off?
No, I'm just come see us at Rust City. It'll be a hoot.
Yes, all of us, we're going to be a bunch of book nerds, like acting crazy, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
people act.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out Suzanne M. Sabol all over the web. Her social media links are below. And if you want to check out her series, Blushing Death, please check out the links below as well. They're Amazon links, and you can go straight to her books and download them. That is it for today. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, guys.